Hey now, it's a grown woman's perspective with Rochelle, and I am Rochelle. I want to say welcome to this channel. Super excited to have you, whether you've been here before, whether you're brand new. Definitely want to remind you right now up front before we get started to like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bells because I want you to be notified every single time I upload a new video. We talk about the things that hit your screen from a grown woman's perspective. In this video, we are going to talk about episode number 3 of Basketball Wives. And so let me go to my notes and let's dig in to this episode. It was a very interesting episode, and we got a chance to see a lot of things unfold. Something very, very specific that I want to talk about that we are definitely going to have to discuss down in these comments. This is going to be, I think some people are going to have some very interesting takes on this issue. But let's dig in. From the very beginning, we got a chance to see that a continuation from last week, the girls are going on this pandemic ponderosa, as Jackie called it, and they're going to be together in a mansion for 2 weeks. It's a 2-week staycation. Now, what we know is Evelyn got a mansion for her and the girls that she gets along with. And then Jackie, although she was invited to Evelyn's mansion, she decided to get her own place and invite the girls that the other girls don't really get along with, which happens to be OG and Jennifer right now. But we get a chance to see that next week we're going to be adding some more girls to Jackie's house. So in the meantime, though, they had to take a COVID test. They went ahead and quarantined before they went to the house just to make sure everybody was going to be safe. Evelyn got there first. She was looking around the house. She called Shaunie. Shaunie was there a few minutes after Evelyn. Malaysia was the third person to come to the house, and they asked her had she spoken to Jackie, and she's like, no, I still haven't spoken to her. I am not talking to her right now. And she said that she's open actually to talking to Jackie, but she is very, very happy that Jackie is not staying at their house. So I guess that all works out for the best, especially until people get a chance to resolve their issues. Now we get a chance to go over to Jackie's house and we see Jackie arrive. She's really, really ecstatic about her house. She calls her husband, lets him know that it's gorgeous. She has high hopes of bringing everyone back together to reconcile. Now, I think that that is very grown woman of her, right? Because she's really looking to help these girls make amends, and for her to even make amends with who she's not getting along with right now. That happens to be Malaysia, as we all know. Now we see Jennifer arrive at the house with Jackie. They toast to sisterhood. Jackie says, let's toast to sisterhood, boss behavior, and cleaning the air. And Jennifer like, pump your brakes. I'm not here to make up with these girls. I'm not here to reconcile with anyone. I'm just here to have a good time. So as we can see, Jennifer's not really open to it, at least right now. She just wants to make sure she has fun. She gets to drink and relax, I guess. And then OG arrives, and she tells the girls that her and Kwame are looking to have a baby. Jackie gives her some advice on how to make a boy if they want to have boys, which is hilarious. Jackie is always going to give you something extremely funny. And then OG said that the ladies actually have to come to her if they want to bond. She says she's not interested in bonding with anyone outside of the house that she's staying in. So I don't know. I don't understand how everybody, is coming on vacation and you're on a show with a whole crew of people, but you don't plan on bonding with anyone. You don't plan on making amends with anyone. I don't know. We'll just have to see how this season goes. And then we go back to Evelyn's house. We see Liza get there, which is the new girl on the show, Lamarr Odom's. They have children together, Lamarr Odom's ex. And then Kristen gets there. And then Feby was supposed to be there. When Evelyn called her, we found out that Feby had been exposed to COVID. Someone that she knows and said she was close to, although they didn't have symptoms, they were tested. They tested positive for COVID, and because she had been around them, she wanted to go ahead and quarantine a little bit first before she came, with the ladies. To make sure everybody was going to be safe. And Evelyn, of course, is really concerned about this. Of course, we know this is probably mid 2020, not according to where we are right now, but we know Evelyn lost her stepfather to COVID. And so she is definitely concerned about Feby. When you think back to around maybe like June, just let's think about June of 2020, there were so many things that we did not know about the coronavirus, and there were so many fears out there, and so many people knew people that were beginning to pass away and actually died by themselves because, nursing homes and hospitals weren't allowing visitors and other people to be there with them. So I can, see how that would have been a scary thing for Evelyn at that time. When we look forward to now, it's like we have a little bit more information. Knowing that Feby is young and she's healthy, even if she had been ill, she probably would have been okay, but we didn't know that then. And Evelyn didn't know that then. So it's definitely understandable why she would have been concerned. Now, Jackie, she sits down and she has a serious conversation with the girls about how COVID has changed her. And she talks about how now she really understands what's important, who's important, and what's not important. Like all the little bickering and everything, how that is not really important in the scheme of things. Well, Jennifer, on the other hand, although we know that she had COVID because she told us, she keeps harping on how the girls don't take responsibility for their actions. She is, again, refusing to try to make amends and try to be open to that. And she's trying to be like, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. And then basically Jackie is like, look, you better chill because you're getting ready to make me mad. So we all know that these girls don't want Jackie to be upset because Jackie has the capacity to fly off the handle and to handle these girls. And so Jennifer calmed herself down. Then we see Liza back at the other house. She's confiding in Shaunie about how she really needs this trip and, Lamarr and the money for college and how he's not responding to her emails and texts and calls. And he has the money in some college fund and on and on and on. And, okay, we're just hoping that Lamarr does the right thing. Well, then we find out that she has a talk later with her son, and Lamarr has actually been in contact with him concerning the college money. So great. Hopefully that's not a thing. Hopefully that's not what they're trying to make her storyline be based upon, her ex, because we know all these ladies most of these ladies are exes with someone who was in the NBA. And so hopefully her part on the show is not going to be based on her ex, because I don't think that's going to be too fun. But then Jackie comes by the girls' house. We know that everybody except for Malaysia is cool with Jackie right now. So it was fine that she came by. But then Malaysia, once Jackie got there, she made herself scarce. She went off into another room and sat by herself. So we find out that Kristen wants to have a conversation with OG. Now, Jackie is like, oh, I'm so happy. Finally, somebody is on the Jackie Christie peace train. So she's pumped about that. She's like, I'm going to put that together so you all can have that conversation. She actually asks Evelyn if she's willing to talk to OG. And Evelyn is like, she gets a little emotional and she's like, I'm really not interested. I'm not really open. There's been things that she's said and that she's done and it has caused a lot of problems in my life. And she knows for a fact that these things aren't true. And I'm just not down for it. And, Shaunie really, steps in as well to take up for Evelyn. She's like, I don't like where this has gone because, there is no racism in our group. And she said, if someone had said that maybe I showed favoritism toward Evelyn, that would be one thing. But when you say there's racism toward you, that's something totally different. And so, but Shaunie says, but I am going to hold to my word because I am willing to have a conversation with OG. And so that's kind of how that went. all of that is completely understandable. And then Shaunie talked to Malaysia about she and Jackie actually sitting down and having a conversation. And Malaysia said that she's willing to do that. She's willing to listen as long as there's going to be an apology. Now, I don't know how you can determine if there's going to be an apology or not, right? You're open to a conversation or you're not. You can't say, I'm going to sit down with you and have a conversation if you're going to apologize. No, that's not that's not what grown women and grown men do. We're going to have the conversation, and wherever it goes, it goes. And we each have to control ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves. So I don't know how you put that stipulation on, yes, I'm willing, but it has to be an apology at the end. That to me doesn't make any sense. But let me know what you think. Do you think that you can, you have the power to go into a conversation where your stipulations are laid out and have to be met before you have the conversation? Or do you just have the conversation and see where it goes? It needs to be natural, right? I mean, that's my opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let's chop it up concerning this particular topic. So I want to see what you guys think. Before we go on to the rest of the show, this was a lot of things that we have to unpack in this show. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to this channel. I definitely want to make sure you're in the know when we upload new videos like this. So let's move on. So when we see Jackie go back to her house, she actually lets OG know that Kristen wants to have a conversation with her. And OG is open to that. So I think that is great. So we're actually open to a conversation. Then we switch back, and now Liza is telling all the ladies about her issue with Lamarr. Girl, they're like, you need to get over this. Enough is enough. It seems like you're still hurt. You're not over him. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing, I'm thinking, and again, I hope that this is not going to be her whole storyline, because we're going to have her off the show really, really quick if that is the case. I hope she's going to bring something a little bit more interesting to the show this season and not be harping on Lamarr and his troubles and his lack of giving money and all of that. That's not what we want to hear on a show such as this. All right, so Kristen now goes over to Jackie's house. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. It gets good. I'm expecting high things from this conversation. I don't know if it's going to be explosive. I don't know if it's going to be insightful. And what we got out of it was extremely interesting. So let's dig into this. We have to unpack this. This is definitely something I want us to discuss down in these comments. It's some important stuff here. And I think that it goes to some of the things that we may even have going on in the world today. So I definitely want to talk about it. So when Kristen first went in, OG wouldn't even look at her, which to me was kind of crazy. You said you were open. You knew she was coming. You knew she was coming for you to have a conversation with you. So why couldn't you just speak? Why couldn't you just say hello? Give a little smile. Someone's coming into your space. They're coming in with good vibes. Why can't you, reciprocate that? I didn't really like that. I didn't like what I saw. Now, I don't know if that was the real deal, but that's what they showed us, right? And so she was not giving eye contact. She wasn't smiling. She seemed irritated. She seemed nervous, which is understandable, but to speak costs nothing. So Kristen tells OG that she wants to hear her. She's like, I really want to hear what you have to say. Now, in the confessional, OG seemed fine with that. But in the confessional, OG said that she doesn't want to speak openly. She's basically like, I want Kristen to speak and ask me questions, and then I can answer those questions. Okay. So basically, she's like, if Kristen wants to talk to me, she has to be the one to talk, and then I'll respond. That doesn't seem like an open dialogue to me, but everybody that claims to be grown is not always necessarily grown. OG said that it's not just about the skin tone. So they started talking about how she was feeling this racism slash colorism, right? And so Kristen said, we're in the same color palette. So I'm trying to understand how you feel this way and I don't feel this way. And OG kept making the correction that you don't know how I feel because I've never expressed how I feel. I've only expressed what I've experienced. So she said, okay, well, tell me what you've experienced because we're in the same skin tone. What have you experienced? And so OG says, I'll repeat, it's not just about the skin tone, but it's also about the facial features. So to me, this sounds like a case of I don't feel like I'm as attractive as you. And obviously the other ladies don't feel that I look as good or as pretty or as beautiful as you. So it's not just about our complexion, but it's also about our facial features. OG makes the point that Kristen has Western features, so her nose is thinner and her lips, and I heard her say your nose is thinner, right? And she says, and she herself, meaning OG, has African features. So this brings up a really, really interesting point because if we think back to a year and a half or so ago when the girls went through this whole thing, Evelyn and OG went through this whole thing on Instagram, in addition to everything that happened at the reunion and just all of the social media, everything that went on concerning this colorism issue. OG was adamant that Evelyn was a colorist slash racist toward her. And I'm not saying that she was or was not. I'm only saying that I find it very interesting that now she is saying, admittedly and openly, that it's not just about the tone of the skin, the color of the skin, but it's also about the facial features. This sounds like more than a racism slash colorism issue for OG. So I'm just wondering why she claimed it to be colorism. And now she's saying it's more so about lookism, right? How we look, not so much our complexion. All right, so you guys know we need to talk about this, right? This is a conversation that must be had in the comments. So I need to hear your perspective on this. I need to hear how you translate this. I need to find out, is she changing her story? I need to find out, has she had time to think about this, or has someone gotten in her ear? Is she insecure about the way that she looks? Like, what actually is it that now has her talking about features, facial features? This is my first time hearing her talk about facial features as opposed to just the color of the skin. Is she just saying this because she's now talking to someone else that is brown? Would she have a different story if she was talking to someone of Evelyn's complexion or Shaunie's complexion? Would it be a different story? So let's talk about it. I want to know what you think about this because this is a very, very, very important point. So Kristen says that she said, I admit I was totally in the dark about how this could have been an issue. She's like, but I was hoping that we would be able to find some kind of common ground just as two Black women in America, not as an African woman and an American woman, right? But as just two Black women that live in America, can we find some common ground? And it didn't seem like OG was interested in meeting her halfway to get there. OG said that because Kristen took Evelyn's side on that whole text message debacle between OG and Ocho Cinco last season, that made Kristen a colorist as well. Kristen says, well, it wasn't that I was taking the side of the light-skinned people. She's like, how about it? What it could have been possible that I just didn't like you at the time, and I wasn't going to be on your side because I thought it was ridiculous. So Jackie says, at this point in her confessional that she loves Kristen's energy. She's like, she came in like a grown woman. She came in with positive energy, really looking to have some kind of resolution. And I loved it. OG thinks that if someone takes the light-skinned side over her side, then that makes them a colorist. Jen jumps in, and she is really, really harping on certain things. It's like her record, the needle on her record is skipping right now because she just keeps talking about the same thing over and over again. So Jen jumps in and she says that other people have also done things and have not been called aggressive, but yet OG gets called aggressive. And Jackie pulls her card and she's like, look, that's not true because I've been called aggressive. I've been called crazy, weird, angry, all of the things that OG has been called, and I'm not a dark-skinned woman. And she said that I also know that other women have gotten called out on their stuff too, which then shut Jen's mouth. But Jen was hype. Even Kristen had to tell her, like, quiet down, calm down. It's not like this. Basically, this isn't even between us, so you need to calm it down. And Jen was like, no, because I'm upset. Well, we know you're upset about the same thing that you've been upset for several seasons now. They flash back, though, which I love, to OG being aggressive, telling Kristen that she would, knock her out or whatever it was that she was saying, which showed her aggression. Like, Evelyn has thrown bottles, thrown drinks. We've seen Malaysia pick up the table and throw it. We've seen a lot. We've seen Jackie go crazy. Like, we've seen a lot of these women. We've seen Tami be aggressive, right? A lot of these women have been aggressive. But please, 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 Jennifer and whomever else, do not try to act like OG has not also been aggressive. So I was so glad that the show flashed back to last season when she made these threats and jumped up in Kristen's face about what she would do to her. And I mean, let's be honest. As a football player, how could you not be aggressive, right? Football, the mere nature of football is aggression. So to say that you're not aggressive just doesn't even make sense at all. So we can put that to the side. I don't even think, honestly, that it was OG saying that she wasn't aggressive. It was more so Jennifer wanting to talk about aggression, even though nobody else was talking about aggression. We were talking about color. Jen wants to talk about aggression because she wants to continue to talk about the table being thrown and the drinks being thrown and things of that nature. So I guess Jen is going to continue to beat that horse until she gets someone to, I don't know if she's looking for an apology. I don't know if she's looking for just someone to pay for what they've done, I guess. OG says that she can't have a conversation with Kristen, and these women are suffering with selective hearing. Jackie is clearly irritated with her. I personally think that Kristen did a phenomenal job, even through some of the the irritation that OG was showing. And even when OG described what she had said to Kristen last season about what she would do to her, she said it again in such a way that was like, I did say that energy was high. I shouldn't have gotten in your face. She didn't say it like that. She kind of said it like, I did say that and I will do that because basically you were pissing me off. And Kristen still remained calm and she still was like, yeah, but I'm here for resolution. Like, I'm trying to understand. So I loved that grown woman play out of Kristen. So Kristen actually, when she's finished with that conversation, she goes back to the house and she shares with the other girls what happened in the conversation. And Shaunie pretty much comes to the conclusion that there probably won't be an understanding because it doesn't appear that OG wants there to be an understanding. And if that's what it is, then that's just what it is. And that may be the case. We'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. And then Jackie, talks to the girls and she actually feels that the conversation went okay, but that, but OG says that there won't be a resolution. So how about that? She says that there won't be. And then Jackie actually jumps on Jennifer's case for being negative and for bringing up the same old stuff. And the girls in the other house are like, and Jennifer's still bringing up the same old stuff. So everybody kind of sees where Jennifer is. And I'll say, just like I said about Liza, that I hope that Lamarr is not her only storyline. I really hope that with Jennifer, this is not going to be her only storyline, this same old tune type of thing, because that's going to get old really quick as well. So, guys, this was a lot. This was a lot to unpack. A lot happened on this episode. In this little hour, they squeezed a lot in. And usually I only talk about the things I talk about the things that actually interest me and that I think were interesting in the show. Pretty much the entire show was interesting and talk worthy. And so that's why I talked about the entire show. But I want to know what you think. I want to know, how would you rate this particular episode? Do you think that it's heating up? And, what were those important points to you? I want to know your opinion on the whole OG thing and what we discovered about kind of where she's going with these allegations now. Now that we're seeing her tune changed a little bit in terms of, whether it's the color or whether it is the facial features. I want to know your thoughts on that. With that being said, guys, that is it for me. But I want to remind you just one more time to like this video, subscribe to my channel. Yes, yes, yes. And let's talk in the comments. Guys, I can't wait to just converse with you and get to know your thoughts and your opinions, just like I get a chance to share mine with you. With that being said, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.